we are going to talk with James McCrae, or he's going to talk to us about Genesis VR, reconditioning of the internet. It's amazing and it's beautiful stuff. Let's warmly welcome James to the stage.
That's amazing. Happy birthday. Okay, so yes, I am James McCrae, and I'm going to be talking about Genesis VR. I'll introduce myself a little bit. I'm going to kind of go over it at a higher level. I've been doing pitches, and it's been forbidden to use videos in those, so I'm kind of like withdrawing from it, so this is going to be very video heavy and just fun. So, it's going to be more like that. So, yeah, keep it fun and light. So, just begin. So I've actually been going to SVVR for quite a while now. If you go on the SVVR website today, you see the Launchpad event coming up, and you see that image in the background. But if we kind of do some CSI sharpening of the image, you remember this back in 2014. I was there. That same night was the recreation of the Last Supper featuring Palmer Luckey at center. I was there. You may recognize some other luminaries in that picture as well. Alright, so as far as Genesis VR goes, the team, it's actually myself and a co-founder, Karin Stang. We're both from the University of Toronto. They have a graphics and interaction lab there that I'm a part of. I'm just graduated from last year. And the Genesis VR project was kind of like a hobby, and wanting to be a responsible graphics student. These headsets coming up, I had to learn programming for this thing. I didn't know anything about it, so I kind of pride myself when I went first, like Linux working demos before they actually had SDK of Linux and took it away again. And, but I've been with it since the DK1 days and so on. So yeah, that's kind of us. We're the team. So what are you talking about? Why are you here? Okay, so here's the problem. The internet's everywhere. It's hard to disagree that it's not ubiquitous. It's like culturally significant. We need it. So that's one thing. But the problem is that VR is arriving as this new medium, and we're all here, and we all agree that it's going to be the platform of the future. So when you start to just slam the two together, combine them in this way, you have a problem, and it's that combination, naive combination of just putting that 2D plane into the virtual space. It's not that imaginative. And it's not really all that effective either. It's not as great a solution as you could have. So, what Genesis VR is about is creating a new way to experience the internet, a kind of immersive internet. And I'll touch upon 5 videos to kind of show the elements of that. So, in Genesis VR, the entirety of the web is represented as a set of rooms or spaces. So think of any URL as defining a place. Like a physical location, you can walk around inside of it, you can meet others in it, you can communicate with them, and you can navigate, via, sort of traditional, physical analog kind of walking through. You also have this ability to sort of zip around the environment, just sort of by like a click, and you kind of fade in and out this way. So Genesis VR, how do you get around? We kind of reimagined the hyperlink as actually a portal. So a portal is kind of what you think. It's a sort of a surface that simultaneously peers into 2 separate spaces. And it provides a seamless transition from room to room. And it preserves context as you go between spaces. So you can look through a portal in the next room and have an idea of what the contents of that room are all about before you commit and you kind of go in there. So, on the other side of the portal you can have whatever content you want, and you have this ease of accessibility to go anywhere from anywhere. I don't know. This was top on Reddit, and I'm a Canadian, so I thought it was funny or whatever. Okay, yeah. I can't wait to go back to Canada to go to the dentist and stuff, but just for a bit. Okay. So avatars, you obviously want to have rich avatars. VR is all about, the bond between the man and the machine, getting as much of yourself into there as possible. So we're doing things like supporting the head tracking so that the avatar will sort of lean realistically. We're using weak motion support right now. We have these, touch controllers that have these, oriented points for the hands. So that's going to be coming. So you definitely want to have avatars. You want to have a presence in these spaces. Get as much of the body in there as possible. So how do you create environments? It's actually as easy as starting out with any kind of HTML page. Janus is just extra markup that you add to that page that defines the content for all. So that this looks really, it's almost, the text is more legible in a DK2 than it is here. So anyway, what you can do is you can actually edit the code for the page directly, which just sort of change the position of the blocks. You can right click and select it. That's a little bit more direct. You can kind of go through the attributes. The sort of the code updates live. So that's another way to sort of get going with creating environments. But then we can go one step beyond that. If we start to consider the internet instead as like a toolbox from which we can pull in and build upon any and all that content, you start to be able to do some powerful things like dragging images out of the pages, dragging pages out of the pages, and collaboratively having people pull things out of those pages that you pulled out. And you have this like exponential growth and sort of your creative ability. Like if you just put a few people in here, it just explodes with internet content very quickly. So, that's kind of flat stuff, what we're even looking at. Okay, so it's more demoing on this. So you can look up, these are functional surfaces. Get some cat pictures, it's obligatory. So I'm going to a particular subreddit that just contains links to geometric files on the web. It's like a house or something. Just drag it in, So you can picture the entirety of the web, these rectangles, is like a window into a toolbox from which you can just bring anything and everything in. It's an astronaut, Eiffel Tower, just drag and drop it right in. So you don't need to be a coder necessarily to really get going and create these VR-ready environments. So, next. That's the kind of stuff I'm working on. So, what else we got here? So, beyond just the static stuff, we use JavaScript as sort of the language right now because they're somewhat ubiquitous. So people kind of like, Minecraft-like environments where, now you have all of the rules of Minecraft kind of in a specific Janus room. So a page you go to, a place, a room, has sort of rules that govern the behavior inside of it. This was cool. So another example is just people making games like retro games. This is Frogger, the old classic Frogger. It's like pixel perfect when viewed from above. You're actually inside an arcade machine and can fly out. But again, someone's written JavaScript to define, how all the objects move around and sort of the rules of the game. You can hop on the turtles, you can fall in the river, you'll kind of have a problem. Something I purposely committed suicide here. Boom! No, you died. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so more on like the user-created content side. It's doing pretty well. I put it out there versus a hobby, and I got a lot of traction. I used to get a lot of people were curious about wanting to build with this platform. And someone went out of their way and they made a website that was like a crawler that looked for like rooms with Janus markup, pages with Janus markup, and then kind of like spidered through and grabbed. So it come up with like 2,000 and something pages just here, just linked off our sort of main lobby here. And that's on augmentedperception.com. You can interact with that. You can zoom in and see the individual nodes. That was cool. But as well as the like user-created content stuff for fun, there's also people doing business-related things with this. Like it's a platform that doesn't really restrict what you want to build or what you want to do with it. So we have examples, and I'll go through each of these. So one of the first partners was a guy by the name of Lee Nolan. He's from Spain. He runs vrsites.com. He just wanted to solve the problem of hosting these sites for people because you need a server to put this on. And he kind of went above and beyond that and made it really easy to do in a web-based interface, but actually kind of curated these hotels that contained there's thousands of rooms that people were generating, which were these accounts on VR sites. There could kind of be anything behind them. So you could say, go to the hotel with this name, on the third floor on your left, that's my VR space. And that's pretty cool. And I'll stop saying that's pretty cool. This is the live immersive events. If anyone's heard of VRLive.tv, they do this live streaming. They've been live streaming some events. There's a digital LA panel that was on the topic of social VR. And we're actually viewing it inside Janus. So picture the 360, I think, rectangular formatted video streams in with the sphere, and then you're meeting your friends kind of inside that sphere, so you can also have voice chat, communicate with them, and then you're kind of inside this larger event that's going on. And that's been successful. So we've done everything from like rock concerts to boxing matches, to like races, burlesque shows, all kinds of different content. We actually hosted something called like the SVVR Expo, these kind of conventions, which, like you think you have, kind of like what we're doing here, right? But it's in the virtual world. But instead of a picture, you can just go on in that surface behind me and like follow me through. It's like, what's your company, what's your product? It's something 3D, what is it? So in this case, it's actually this geometry stuff, another company where you can do some digital fabrication of these flat objects. Oh, that's pretty cool. The other example, like it's often used is commercial real estate. So you have an office building, you want to be able to do that. But then, so some, like in the commercial real estate, one of the things they specialize in is staging. So in the virtual environment, it's actually much easier to stage because you can quickly move around the different objects, the furniture, press on a button, and try out a lot of different options. It's much more difficult to do in a physical space. And then you have also these other commercial examples where you can show products and things like this. This model is actually like was a planned expansion for a mall in Ottawa that was built. Okay, so that's like tip of the iceberg. Look at the platform. It's a platform for the immersive web, and I'm trying to do my best to get that vision out there. Something richer than the paradigm of 2D rectangle, click, discrete jump, another 2D rectangle, which is kind of a paradigm we've had for at least 20 years. So I'm just throwing some creativity at it. It's not restrictive, so anyone can create whatever they want with the platform. We have this passionate, growing community of users and people building businesses from this, and it's growing, so it's exciting. So to get it, it's right now it's on desktop platforms, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Just go to jansvr.com and download. It's just packaged up as a zip file, equivalent, and you're there. So thank you. Thanks very much for having the opportunity to see you guys. Yes.
Is there a way to
like a plugin-based system. So this is something that actually needs more work. It's about extensibility. So I've been looking at it in terms of rooms being able to define their own, behavior when you walk within them. I mean, that's akin to having a plugin that's site-based. But I mean, you can picture also plugins that maybe theme, your interface and things like that in a certain way. Right now we're a really small team, so I think extensibility is definitely a to-do item, but it's something I've got to focus more attention on. Yes?
Two questions. First is, what 3D formats can you describe about it?
Okay, currently we're doing OBJ, 3DS, GAE, and FBX.
And secondly, versus there, how is this different, and how is it the same as Allspace?
Yes, we get this question all the time. What's the difference between them? So I think that the core difference is that Allspace sees themselves as a communications platform. So we are really focused on events and spaces for a certain purpose, as opposed to Janus, which is really re-envisioning of the internet as a whole. I think when it comes to the 3D stuff specifically, our SDK, we have what we call a volumetric web browser. So the VR site is like an entire room and stuff is. The volumetric web browser is like a cube where you can use JavaScript and it's mostly Vue.js and OBJ that you're using to make a VR experience that's shared and synchronized kind of out of the box. So that's kind of our focus. Really the focus is making this kind of contained experience that's going to be for a social purpose rather than just Janus is like constructing a whole room if you want for any purpose. So say kind of that's hopefully that answers the question.
Volumetric browser sounds a little restricted.
That's 5 words, right?
he's right. Maybe it's a different focus. His is on communication and getting people together. Mine is on evolving, a long existing paradigm on how we use the web. Sure, maybe the company visions it. Naturally, you have these Venn diagrams of feature sets. There's intersections there that both allow you to communicate with this, but it's an inevitability. These are expected features on the platform, that people will be able to socialize to some degree. Yes?
So how many creators and how many consumers do you have on your platform right now? How are you interacting?
So it is a pretty large ratio of, consumer to creator. In terms of uniques that we've been tracking since September of last year, it's coming up at 43,000. And part of that is because not all are, necessarily Oculus users. We've actually done some analytics on that. I think roughly maybe a quarter of the program execution people are using a DK2. So, maybe 10,000 of those. But then you work out maybe there's 100,000 DK2s in the wild, that's maybe 10%. The ratio is something like 40 to 1 for like consumers, a passive viewer versus someone actively building the environments. But this was before I had a lot of the drag and drop functionality where people were going on a notepad or something, typing the XML code in. So